What's up everyone? John Rettinger from Techno Buffalo here with a full review for you of the latest collaboration between Google and HTC. This is the Lollipop Rocket Nexus 9. There are a ton of great tablets out there. It can be hard to choose from, but let's see if this should be the tablet that finds a way in your bag. So as I do with all of my reviews, let me give a disclaimer. I used this device for 6 days before filming this review. Todd, who did the written part, which will be in the link down below, used it for 6 days as well. If you want more information on things I'm going to talk about, if you want to see samples of the gallery and just sort of get a bit more detail, again, link down below to go to the written review. We tested the Wi-Fi only models by doing this review in both white and black, which there will be a difference as you'll see later on. LTE models are also available. So we broke this review up into 6 categories. Obviously there's a lot we can cover, but I thought these 6 sort of encapsulated the whole tablet. Hardware, performance, software, camera, battery, final thoughts, and an official Techno Buffalo score. Let's get started. So first, we noticed a pretty big difference between the white and the black models offered by HTC. The white model is certainly a bit more premium looking and feeling of the two devices, offering sleek metal edges and a smooth, though definitely not soft touch black panel. The black model, on the other hand, though, offers the same metal edges, but they aren't as prominent or shiny, and the soft touch material grabs fingerprints like you would not believe. Also, if you push the HTC logo, and this is on both tablets, it definitely depresses a little bit. You can sort of feel it moving. Just not as solid build quality as we're used to from HTC. The screen is an 8.9-inch QXGA, which means it's got a 2048 by 1536 pixel display. It's got a kind of unique 4:3 aspect ratio, which I really ended up liking. The sharpness is solid, but in general, Todd and I kind of agreed the display is far from the best on the market. And while we're talking about screens, one thing to keep in mind, there is a decent amount of screen bleed here, and it's very apparent when you're turning the device on. You see the Android boot logo, you can see the bleeding in from the top and the bottom. So bear that in mind. The screens aren't as sharp as what you might find on the Samsung Galaxy Tab S product line, which offers, in our opinion, some of the best screens on the market, and just didn't give the same sort of wow factor to screens such as sharp resolution often does. So I did mention the screen is very sharp, and that was appreciated in certain areas, like when I'm reading a book or a magazine, something that you might pick up from Google Play. The text comes through really nice and crisp and helps alleviate the strain on the eyes. It also gets really nice and bright, which I like. I like my screens big and bright. The screen is flanked by 2 front-facing HTC Boom sound speakers. A deep dive by the iFixit folk discovered that these are the same ones used in the Desire A10 instead of the more high-end speakers found on the HTC One M8. The sound was admittedly a little bit hollow, although we were totally okay with that given the trade-offs to those front-facing speakers. Moving around the device, you'll find a micro USB charging port on the bottom, 2 volume buttons, and a power button on the right side, which also kind of felt a bit cheap and hard to reach, and a 3.5mm headset jack on the top. There's a 1.6 megapixel camera in the top bezel, right smack in the middle, and an 8 megapixel camera on the back of the tablet with a single LED flash. The camera does stick out a little bit, which kind of looks funny, but it's angled, so it doesn't sort of affect how the tablet sits on the table. We'll talk much more about the cameras later. All right, next let's move on to performance. We already know NVIDIA's Tegra K1 is a beast. The NVIDIA Shield Tab blazes and capable of playing console quality games, and the same chip is hiding inside the Nexus 9. Google doesn't really show off its prowess, however, and it's something all developers have a chance to do as apps take advantage of that just ridiculous power. So on the software side as well, you notice that Android 5.0 Lollipop flies. Everything is blazingly fast. We opened up the task switcher, and with about 20 apps open, flipped through them as if it was just nothing. Had no issue at all. It's pretty impressive how far Android has come, how smooth Android now runs, and how first-class Android feels on this processor. We had some issues with choppy games on Nexus 9 though, although an update from Google helped fix that just a little bit. I suspect though this is mostly a software problem and will be fixed more over time, particularly since we know the K1 is designed to absolutely crush games. But I know you guys love raw numbers, so let me give you some specs. Nexus 9 notched up a score of 10,843 in Quadrant and 33,993 in Antutu, so pick that for whatever it's worth. So more on the software. Nexus 9's hardware and Lollipop are a match made in absolute heaven. Lollipop runs and looks gorgeous. We've already gone into pretty deep dives with Android, discussing the changes and new features in Lollipop, so check out those articles as well, which we'll link right down below. In general though, you'll find that Android 5.0 is by far the best and most advanced version of Android ever, and kind of why shouldn't it be, right? It's the newest one. Everything has been refreshed with a brand new material design that creates a much more aesthetically pleasing UI. There are small touches here and there, and I really like the light animations that make the whole operating system feel so much more smooth. It's just incredible how far Android on a tablet has come from Honeycomb, which was really not very good. Multitasking is way more fluid, as we already discussed earlier, and I really like the spacious and clean keyboard layout. It supports multiple users, increased encryption, and way more. Also, I really recommend checking out Google's new Calendar app, which is more refined, colorful, and robust than ever before, which you can probably download for your own Android device anyway. We also really like the new lock screen notifications, which you can finally interact with. And we all know before everybody starts yelling at me, third-party options have existed for a way long time, but it's nice to see these on full baked and cooked Android right now. On that same note though, the double tap to wake function is another welcome feature we've seen on other high-end flagship devices, LG G3. It's convenient when you want to quickly check a notification without having to sort of dig around for that power button. It's kind of hidden on the side. So this struck me as super weird. There are some software oddities living inside of Lollipop. So Gmail now supports all email accounts, which is great, but Google still includes their default email application. I like unified inboxes, so I always use that default email app, and I didn't use Gmail. So I was excited, I saw the application, I opened it up, and all it does is prompt me to open up Gmail. That's it. That's all the app does, is say you should open up Gmail. Why even put it on there? I found that very strange. So overall, Todd and I agree that Android has certainly caught up, if not surpassed, the visual beauty of iOS on a tablet. Whereas once kind of clunky looking, it's now much more refined and an absolute pleasure to use. So first, let me just say I loathe using the camera on a tablet. Let me just get that out there in full disclosure. But if you are that type of person that likes a gigantic viewfinder, you will not be very disappointed, although the people looking at you shooting pictures might be. It takes pretty good pictures. If you want to see more samples of how it looks, hit the link down below to our full review. We'll have plenty of samples up there. Suffice to say, if you want to take pictures, it's going to be fine. It's not going to blow you away. But you want to take a quick picture of your kid scooting around, it'll do the job. Let's next talk about battery. The 6700 milliamp hour battery is pretty solid. In regular usage, I easily got 4 days. Regular usage is different for everybody. For me, usually watching about an hour to 2 hours of HD video on YouTube, generally browsing the web, sending email. I've got 2 accounts being pulled down all the time. Easily got sort of full 4 days. I probably could have gotten even longer. Really where the objective test comes in, we ran HD video playing on this guy. We were able to get 9 hours. And that was with all the wireless stuff turned off and brightness at about 50%. It's about 20 to 30 minutes for what Google claims, but if I adjust the brightness, I probably could have pushed it. So you can easily get through a full flight and watch 2 or 3 movies and still have a little bit of battery left to tell your parents that you got home. So what's the verdict on the Nexus 9? If you couldn't tell, I kind of like it. It's a fantastic little tablet. I dig the size. For me, it's kind of in between the size of what you get with an iPad mini versus a full-size tablet, and I really like the 4:3 aspect ratio. The software is obviously the highlight here, and Lollipop is an absolute treat, although I'm not the biggest fan of the front-facing speaker. Battery life and overall smooth performance, though, really sort of made up for that. The display isn't perfect. There are way better ones out there, but it's not a complete deal breaker here at all. Additionally, the area of the back that depresses when touched doesn't really scream premium, as HD usually been known for over the past few years. The white model simply looks better than the black one, and I don't usually say that often, sort of pick a color, but if you're trying to pick which device to get, I would definitely opt for the white one, although obviously it's going to come down to personal taste. Nexus 9 isn't perfect, but it's a great way to experience the best of Android 5.0 Lollipop without many sacrifices, and you'll be guaranteed you'll have Google's latest advancements free and any OEM bloatware. This gets a very solid 8.0 on the Techno Buffalo scale. What do you guys think? Do you agree, disagree? I want to hear your thoughts on the Nexus 9. Let us know in the comments down below. Again, link to the full review is also going to be down there, as well as our Lollipop tour. Until next time, I'm John Ranger from Techno Buffalo. See you guys next video. Bye-bye. Thank you guys for watching. If you want to see more videos from Techno Buffalo, hit the big subscription button right here. And if you want to see us play games, and I'll admit it, sometimes not so well, check us out at twitch.tv/technobuffalo.